So I was looking at a photo the other day. It's Cillian Murphy, looking a bit older, grey hair, that same terrifyingly icy stare, but he's not in the 1920s anymore. He's standing in what looks like the rubble of the 1940s, and the caption just said, "The Immortal Man."
Chills, right? Absolute chills. It's the image that confirmed what we've been hearing whispers about for years.
It did give me chills, but then immediately after, I had this sinking feeling because, Eloise, didn't we say goodbye? Didn't we see Tommy Shelby ride off on that white horse at the end of season 6? It felt final. And now we're dragging him back for a movie. Is this necessary, or is this just a victory lap for the sake of it?
That is the question of the hour. And welcome to the deep dive on Peaky Blinders, the Immortal Man. I'm Eloise.
And I'm Noah. Today we are unpacking the upcoming Peaky Blinders film, the budget, the controversies, the fan reactions, and why on earth they're calling it the Immortal Man.
It is a massive topic, and Noah, to your point about the ending, Stephen Knight, the creator, has always said the story wasn't done until the air raid siren sounded for World War II. He's been very specific about that.
Okay, but season 6 ended in 1934-ish, right? So we have a time jump.
Exactly. We are jumping forward to the start of the Second World War, and that title, The Immortal Man, it's doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's not just a cool name, it references a very specific moment from the series finale.
Remind me, it's been a minute.
So remember the twist? Tommy thinks he has a tuberculoma. He thinks he's dying, he's preparing his suicide, and then he discovers it was all a ruse by Oswald Mosley and Dr. Holdorf to get him to kill himself.
Right, the gaslighting plot.
Precisely. When Tommy confronts the doctor, he doesn't kill him, he spares him, and he says this line, I'm back from the underground. But the subtext which the show has played with for years is that Tommy is a man who cannot die. He survived the tunnels in France in World War I, he survived the vendettas, he survived the suicide attempts. He is cursed to live.
So the Immortal Man isn't the superhero title, it's a curse.
It's a condemnation. It means he has to keep suffering. And that brings us to the movie. Knight has confirmed this film is going to be an explosive chapter set during the war. And because it's a film, Noah, the scale is completely different. We need to talk about the money.
Yes, the funds. I saw a quote from Stephen Knight saying the budget is going to be bigger, which, well, I'd hope so for a feature film, but what does that actually look like for a production like this?
It's significant. You have to remember, Peaky started on BBC Two. It was a budget show initially. They made it look expensive with clever lighting and tight shots. But now, with Netflix backing the distribution, we are talking about a blockbuster budget. And interestingly, a huge chunk of that investment is going directly into Birmingham.
This is the Digbeth thing, right?
Digbeth Lock Studios. This is fascinating. Stephen Knight isn't just making a movie. He's trying to build an industry. He's opened these massive studios in Birmingham in the actual area where the real Peaky Blinders roamed. The film is the flagship production there.
That is actually quite cool. Usually they just shoot it in a soundstage in London or maybe Eastern Europe to save cash. So the funding isn't just for explosions, it's infrastructure.
Right, it's legacy building. Knight has said he wants Peaky to end where it began, but let's talk about the reaction, because you mentioned you felt a bit skeptical. You are not alone.
I've seen the comments threads. They are spicy. There seems to be two camps. Camp A is Cillian Murphy just won an Oscar for Oppenheimer. He is the biggest actor in the world right now. Let's go. Camp B is leave it alone.
Camp B has a point about narrative integrity. The image of Tommy on the white horse was a redemption. He walked away from the fire. Bringing him back means dragging him back into the mud. And there's a fear that Netflix, and I say this with love for their checkbook, might polish it too much. Peaky is gritty, it's dirty. If it looks too Hollywood, it fails.
There was that weird controversy recently with Tim Roth, wasn't there? He's in the cast.
He is, and Rebecca Ferguson, who is incredible in Dune. But yes, Tim Roth did an interview where he admitted he hadn't actually watched the show before signing on. He said he plans to watch it, but he went in blind.
Oh, the internet must have loved that.
They tore him apart. There were comments saying, how can you understand the tone? Or this is just a paycheck for him. But honestly, I think that's an overreaction. Tim Roth is a legend. He plays villains better than almost anyone. If he's playing a Nazi or a corrupt official, which is likely given the timeline, he doesn't need to know the history of the Shelby Gin Company. He just needs to be menacing.
Fair point, but it speaks to how protective the fans are. They feel ownership over this.
And Cillian Murphy knows that. He's been very vocal. He said he wouldn't have come back unless the script was phenomenal. He's almost 50 now. He's not doing this because he needs the work. He's doing it because he feels a duty to the character.
Let's look at the technical side for a second. We know the show is famous for its music. Nick Cave, the anachronistic rock music. Do we know if that carries over to the film?
That is the big unknown. The show's director for the film is Tom Harper, who actually directed the back half of season 1. He knows the DNA of the show, but a movie score is different. You can't just drop needle drops every 5 minutes in a 2-hour film the way you can in a TV episode. It needs a cohesive sonic identity. I'm really curious to see if they keep Red Right Hand or if they evolve it.
If they don't play Red Right Hand at least once, people will riot in the cinemas.
Oh, there will be popcorn thrown. Guaranteed.
I want to circle back to the plot possibilities. The Immortal Man, we are in World War II. The villain in the last few seasons was fascism, specifically Oswald Mosley. Is the movie just going to be Tommy versus Mosley round 2?
It has to be in some form. Sam Claflin was terrifying as Mosley, but history tells us Mosley was imprisoned during the war. So unless they rewrite history, which Peaky does occasionally, but usually they skirt around the big facts, Tommy might be fighting a different kind of war. Maybe he's working for Churchill again. Remember, Tommy has that letter from Churchill. He's an asset.
That's where the immortal thing gets interesting. If you are a man who doesn't care if he dies, you are the perfect spy.
Exactly. A man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous weapon in a war. And let's not forget the new blood. Barry Keoghan is in this movie.
Barry Keoghan, now that is casting. He's got that same chaotic, dangerous energy that Killian has.
There is a massive fan theory floating around the comment sections that Keoghan isn't just a random gangster. Some think he might be a rival, but others think he could be connected to the Shelby bloodline in a way we haven't seen. Or perhaps he represents the new generation that makes Tommy realize he's a dinosaur.
That's the tragedy of the show, isn't it? Tommy is always trying to go legitimate, but the world keeps pulling him back. If this movie ends with him dying, does that ruin the Immortal title?
Or does it fulfill it? Maybe the immortal man is ironic, or maybe it means his legend is immortal. You know, Stephen Knight said something interesting about the ending. He said he wants to redeem Tommy. He wants him to be a quote-unquote good man by the end.
Can Tommy Shelby ever be a good man? He's killed a lot of people, Eloise.
That's a tension, and that's why the comments are so divided. Half the fans want him to go out in a blaze of glory, guns blazing, taking down Nazis. The other half want him to find peace. But peace is boring for a movie.
It is. We need conflict. Okay, let's talk about the cultural impact of this film happening now. The show ended in 2022. By the time this comes out, it'll have been a few years. Is the hype still there?
I think Cillian Murphy's Oscar run revitalized it. Before Oppenheimer, he was a cult favorite. Now, he is mainstream royalty. People who never watched Peaky are binging it now because of him. The movie is going to benefit from that Murphy effect. It's not just a TV spin-off anymore. It's a Cillian Murphy vehicle.
Which explains the budget. Netflix isn't paying for a TV wrap-up. They're paying for a prestige cinema event. But I have to play devil's advocate again.
El Camino.
The Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was good. But did it add anything essential to the story of Jesse Pinkman? Not really. It was a nice epilogue. I'm worried The Immortal Man will just be an extended episode.
That is the danger. But here's the difference. Breaking Bad ended with closure. Peaky Blinders ended with a question mark.
Tommy riding off was open-ended. We still have the rise of fascism, the war, and the fate of the family business unresolved. Knight has said this is a secret history of World War II. He wants to show the war from the perspective of the people on the ground in Birmingham, not the war rooms in London. That is a story worth telling.
And I guess the bad comments regarding funds, people saying, why spend millions on this when we have original stories to tell? That's a perennial complaint.
It is. But look at the investment in Digbeth. That's 700 jobs. That's bringing the film industry to the Midlands, which has been neglected for decades in favor of London and Manchester. Even if you hate the idea of the movie, you have to respect that Knight is putting his money where his mouth is. He's building a legacy for his hometown.
That is respectable. So we have Nazis, we have Cillian Murphy looking sad and dangerous, we have a massive budget, and we have the backdrop of the Blitz. I guess my final question is, who is this for?
It's for the people who believe in the myth of Tommy Shelby. It's for the fans who need to see if a man who has done that much evil can actually do something good when the world is falling apart. It's the ultimate test of his character.
And if he dies?
Then he finally gets some rest. But as the title says, he's the immortal man. I wouldn't bet on a grave holding him.
Well, I'm still cautiously optimistic, or maybe just cautious, but I will be watching.
We all will. We can't help ourselves. By order of the Peaky Blinders, right?
I promised myself I wouldn't say it, but yeah, by order of the Peaky Blinders.
If you're excited for the film, or if you think they should have left Tommy on that horse, send this episode to a friend and argue about it.